Tonight on CTV News at 5.
Beatrice is 8 years old and has 9 brothers and sisters. She likes Christmas, although it has never been very exciting for her.
As we prepare for the Christmas Daddies Telethon, we look back at one of the early broadcasts from the 1960s. It's Flashback Friday tonight.
Live from the Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News with Maria Panapallis and Jayson Baxter.
Well, hello and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Almeida in for Maria Panapallis.
And I'm Jayson Baxter. Thanks for joining this show, even as we prepare for another show, that being, of course, the Christmas Daddies Telethon tomorrow morning.
That's right. So we'll be checking in on preparations. As you can see, a lot going on behind us. And we will be checking in and seeing why the telethon continues to be such an important part of our lives here at CTV Atlantic. That in just a moment.
Also tonight, from Christmas traditions to a Boxing Day tradition. Cape Breton Screaming Eagles star Pierre-Luc Dubois has been invited to Canada's World Junior Team Selection Camp. We'll meet the young forward and tell you about 4 other local hopefuls this half hour.
Why didn't you tell him you were a lion or a bear?
Because I'm not a lion or a bear. I'm a girl.
And we'll pull the curtain back. We'll take you to Neptune Theatre for a preview of their latest production, Miracle on 34th Street. That's coming up in Section 6.
Those two right there are so talented. I know you saw the
they're
show
great.
As well.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. But first up tonight, Christmas Daddies. The annual telethon has been a part of the maritime holiday season for more than 5 decades.
That's right, and it's raised more than $28.5 million to help countless maritime families in need of a brighter Christmas.
The money provides gifts, clothing, and food for those who truly need it. And it stays in that community, so it's really neighbors helping neighbors.
That's right. Our Suzette Bellevaux checked in on how preparations are going, and she joins us now. Suzette?
Jason and Anna, in less than 24 hours, Maritimers will be tuning into the 53rd Christmas Daddies Telethon. For me, and I think many of us around here, the telethon serves as the official kickoff to the holiday season. And around here in the newsroom today, there's lots of preparations, lots of excitement, as you can see around me. It looks great. So let's check in to see how all the preparations are coming along.
And that gives us a grand total of $480,519.
For more than 5 decades, Maritimers have been opening their hearts and their wallets to help children in need throughout the region have a better Christmas. From Sydney, Charlottetown, Moncton, and our studio in Halifax, the music and joy throughout the day is sure to awaken the Christmas spirit in all who tune in.
We've had people come and say and recognize me from one source or the other. You helped our family 25 years ago. We're here today to give a check.
It's that feeling that makes Art Steves come back to Christmas Daddies every year since 1964, the first telethon. Art says Christmas Daddies has become a holiday tradition for so many families around here.
It is a good cause, and there's children out there that do not have a gift. I don't mean electronics, a simple gift under a tree. And to me, that means a real special thing to me.
So as our studio turns from newsroom to winter wonderland.
We're in the middle of setup for Daddies. I do basically most of the lighting and basically set design.
Teamwork is the key here. CTV employees, volunteers, and telethon executive director Roxanne Robinson are hard at work to ensure all the halls are decked in time for tomorrow morning.
You just never know. It could be a family down the street that needs our help. So I hope you give generously and donate and watch.
It started on CJCH TV and radio in 1964, but Christmas Daddies has been embraced by the whole Maritimes, and it really belongs to the people of the Maritimes, and we're just enormously grateful that so many people share the vision and the love.
A love so many involved with Daddies understand. The feeling of knowing children in need won't be without this Christmas because of your generosity.
It's important because children out there need our help, and let's make the holidays happy for everybody.
An important message shared from our home here at CTV to yours tomorrow during the 53rd Christmas Daddies Telethon. So be sure to turn your TVs on CTV tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. sharp. The telethon runs until 6 p.m. and we're really looking forward to it here. I'm so excited. This is going to be my 5th telethon. I can't wait. Everyone around here is so excited. It looks great. It's so heartwarming to see all the smiles on all the volunteers and employees and everyone's faces. Jason and Anna?
Yeah, and I heard Little Bird told me someone's going to be doing some singing again.
I was going to just say that.
I will be.
You didn't I?
Yeah, and you're fantastic. Such a great singer. I can't wait for your performance. What time? Do you know? 5 o'clock, I believe, right?
Yep, 5 o'clock.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, Suzette.
You're welcome.
CTV, Suzette Beliveau, reporting live in our newsroom tonight. Now let's check in with someone I think we saw in that last night there, Steve Murphy.
All right, Jay and Anna, thank you. In our news at 6 tonight, the police have had a tattoo shop in Halifax surrounded for most of the day today. They say when they attempted to arrest a man, he produced a knife. So now the suspect is taken to social media and is streaming live from inside the building. We'll have coverage of this, a continuing story on our news at 6 tonight. Students across Nova Scotia walked out of classes today in support of teachers who are set to begin their job action on Monday. For the most part, rallies appear to have been peaceful, capping off another week of back and forth between the province and the teachers union. No end in sight. Work to rule begins Monday. The protests start at this afternoon. We'll have live coverage at 6 tonight. Latest on an emergency meeting for the people affected by flooding in Sydney. Those taking part say they are emotionally and financially drained. Some say they're facing ruin and they're frustrated by the lack of answers. So we'll have the very latest on that story coming up on CTV News at 6. Right now to the Weather Center. Kelly Linehan sitting in this afternoon for meteorologist Cindy Day. Kelly.
Yeah, Steve, it's so fun to be here. As Suzette said, it is just full of festive cheer, and it's like Mother Nature heard about Christmas Daddies because she's ordered some flurries, it looks like, tomorrow for Nova Scotia and much of the Maritimes. But tonight, things are cooling off, and already the white stuff might start to fly. So on our storm tracker, when you look at this, you wouldn't think we have some snow on the horizon, but in fact, Environment Canada is calling for some flurries, or if you're in some coastal regions, you might be seeing more rain. And the wind is picking up, too. These are our current wind gusts, 35 kilometers per hour in Halifax, and they're going to continue to gust around 50 kilometers per hour northwesterly. Our current temperature, Steve, cooling off, and they'll continue to overnight.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. First forecast coming up here on Live at 5 with an update on CTV News at 6. Also tonight, a big cash injection for the tourism industry. The federal and New Brunswick governments inking a joint infrastructure deal worth $45 million to make improvements to the Fundy Trail Parkway. That includes a 19-kilometer roadway, a trail system, scenic vistas, beaches, and waterfalls overlooking the bay. We'll have details when you join us for CTV News at 6. Right now, though, it's back to the elves over in the workshop here at Christmas Daddies.
That's right. That's right. We're joined now by Amanda Debison.
Yeah.
Amanda, one of the traditions within Christmas Daddies itself is running with the fleet diving unit.
Yes.
It's a long day, and it's a great day with those guys.
It's a long day. It's a good day. I know you've done it. It's more than 50, or it's about 50 kilometers. They've been doing this for more than 30 years. So what they do is these Navy divers, and I'll be running with them again this year, ditching the heels and grabbing some sneakers. They run across the main streets of HRM. So we want to show you a map so you kind of know where we're going to be. We start in Shearwater. We head along Dartmouth and into Cole Harbour. Then we take a bus to Lower Sackville, go down Sackville Drive, and then we run down that Bedford Highway all the way to the CTV studios. So the big thing is, I know a lot of people make donations online. They call in and make donations, and they've also saved up throughout the year. Now, if you see us running on the streets, we're going to have bright yellow shirts, so you won't be able to miss us, and we might be slowing down traffic. So that's why we're also giving you a heads up on this map. But if you do see us, you can actually give us a donation right then and there, and then we're going to present it here at the CTV studio.
What time do you head out?
We start at 8 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, I work really late and get up really early for this, but it's a lot of fun.
Because this isn't your first time.
No, this is my second time doing it, and I was so sore last year.
I'm sore just watching that map.
Cyril and I did it once.
Cyril?
Once.
Yeah.
I admire those guys, but I'm out.
Yeah, they're tough, and I can't wait to join them again this year.
Dress accordingly.
I will.
And when you're in Sackville, drop by my place before we come in. I'll make sure I have some little sandwiches.
Oh, perfect. I'll also take a nap because I'll be exhausted.
Yes. You'll need one. Amanda, best of luck.
Thank you, guys. I can't wait for the show tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Take care, guys.
Still to come tonight, a Charlie Brown Christmas that will melt even the most frozen of hots.
Yes. But coming up next, it's back to Boston.
Hi, I'm Cindy Day. Well, the Christmas spirit has begun here in Boston, thanks in large part to the beautiful white spruce that completed its journey. It started, of course, in Ainslie Glen, Cape Breton, and it rests here on the Boston Common. I'll have sights and highlights and all the excitement tonight on CTV News at 5.
Welcome back. The Christmas season is underway for the people of Boston thanks to a gift from our region.
The beautiful white spruce from Cape Breton was the centerpiece of Boston's holiday light celebration. And here's some highlights.
Good evening, Boston.
And hello to our neighbors in Nova Scotia. Welcome to Holiday Lights.
And my grandmother lost people in the Halifax explosion. So it must have been awful for her. And then to have all this help from Boston, wonderful story. I have goosebumps right now.
Good tidings we bring to you and your king. Good tidings of Christmas and a happy new year. So bring us a biggie pudding, so bring us a biggie pudding, so bring us a biggie pudding and bring it right here.
What are you doing here tonight, Jubilee?
I'm watching the people sing and dance, and I'm watching the tree.
We're from Dedham, we were someplace in Point Cross, Nova Scotia.
And so do you know where the tree came from?
Yes, up by Lake Ainsley.
People of Boston who were the first to come to our aid, and we want to continue to show great respect for that.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in Wonderland.
Wait a minute, I recognize that flag. I wonder if it came with the tree. Hello, who are you?
My name's Joan McGrath, and I'm originally from Cape Breton.
And where do you live now?
I live in New Hampshire now.
Oh, wonderful. And you are?
Steve Gerton.
And are you here because the tree is from Cape Breton?
I am here solely because the tree is from Cape Breton.
Get your head out of outer space, focusing on the human race. So you're dying from check to check. I see you trying to steal the wreck. Could you be a good man, be a good son, be an old friend, be a brave one, be a rock when it gets hot, be a soft-hearted man when it all gets dark. Just don't let them get inside.
Last year at this Nova Scotia Tree for Boston, my husband now and his daughter Finley, they took out a ring and they proposed to me at this event.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, it's a spectacular show, and I'm sure Cindy and everybody had a great time. We're pleased we could partner with Communications Nova Scotia to bring you that coverage.
That's right. Well, still to come tonight, we'll meet some of the stars from Neptune's latest production, A Miracle on 34th Street. But coming up next, a potential star on Boxing Day.
I'm Cami Kepke in Moncton, where Cape Breton Screaming Eagles star Pierre-Luc Dubois is preparing for his shot at a World Junior roster spot and the chance to lead Canada back to the top of the podium. That's up next on CTV News at 5.
Welcome back. Hockey Canada released its World Junior Team Selection Camp roster earlier this week, and there's a lot of names Maritime hockey fans will be familiar with.
That includes Cape Breton's Pierre-Luc Dubois, who was cut from the team last year. Here's CTV's Cami Kepke with a look at the Screaming Eagle star and the other local skaters hoping to make the cut.
I think everybody in Canada grows up watching those Boxing Day classics.
But this year, Pierre-Luc Dubois may find himself on the ice rather than watching from home. He's one of 32 players across Canada invited to Hockey Canada's selection camp in Quebec to battle for a spot on the 22-man World Junior roster.
Anytime you get to go to a camp like that for your country, it's an honor. The fact that it's in Montreal and Toronto, it makes it even that much better. But I'm now just focusing on camp, and we'll see what happens after.
It's something Dubois would love to add to his impressive resume after being cut from the camp last year.
I was scared to make mistakes. I wanted to play just a safe game, but this year I'm going there. I'm just going to have fun, work hard.
Hockey Canada people had told him at the time, we like your game, we want you on the team next year. You're not completely ready, but we'll watch you. I think that was a message that stuck with him and that allowed him to pursue his development and push himself to become even better.
If he had critics at that point, an astounding performance in the back half of the QMJHL season silenced them. Dubois exploded for 99 points in 62 games and was drafted 3rd overall to the Columbus Blue Jackets last June. He returned to the Eagles this season and captained Team QMJHL to 2 victories in last month's Canada-Russia series.
It's the result of years and years of work, dedication, sacrifice, sweat, and for Pierre-Luc to be there, we're not surprised because he's one hell of a player.
8 other Quebec League players will join Dubois at selection camp, including St. John Sea Dog standouts Thomas Chabot and Matthew Joseph, as well as the lone Maritime-born player, Philip Myers of Moncton.
Now into the middle, shoot, scores!
Chabot is one of few players from last year's team to return, while Joseph, Myers, and Guillaume Brisbois of the Charlottetown Islanders will fight for their first appearance at the tournament. It's a chance to restore glory for a country that's earned only 1 medal in the past 4 years.
Any tournament Canada goes to, we expect a gold medal. That's nothing different this year. Now we're in front of our fans, in front of our country. I think it's time for us to step up and prove that we're #1 in the world again.
It all comes down to next week's camp, and then the fateful moment when puck drops against Russia on Boxing Day. Cami Kepke, CTV News, Moncton.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun Boxing Day against Russia. Do you ever watch the
Oh, I do. My friends, I usually fly back to Ontario for Christmas, and my friends get together on Boxing Day, and everybody watches the game.
It's a tradition.
Yeah,
it is. Family too.
Yeah.
Usually get together with my Uncle Jim.
Oh.
Right now, it's time to introduce you to the Maritimers who are marking milestones tonight.
That's right. Tonight is a 50th anniversary for Alton and Rosalind Taylor of New Minas. And it's also a golden anniversary for Sandra and Shipley Dixon of Canso.
Next up is Lawrence and Audrey Adams of Miramichi. They said their vows 60 years ago. And tonight is a remarkable 70th anniversary for Hazel and Don Van Tassel of St. John.
Margaret Fawcett of Riverview has many loved ones wishing her a very happy 107th birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Margaret.
Yes, and big congratulations and to everyone celebrating tonight. And if you'd like to see your milestone again, just go to atlantic.ctvnews.ca.
We're also happy to announce wedding anniversaries of 50 years, 60 years or more, as well as birthdays of 100 or more. All you have to do is send us a photo at least 2 weeks in advance. Please include the names, date, hometown, and occasion being celebrated. Email is the best way to reach us. Our address is milestones@ctv.ca. Please attach one photograph as either a JPEG or GIF file.
That's right. If you don't have access to email, you can send your announcement by regular mail. That address is Post Office Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia. The postal code is B3J2Z4. We are unable to accept milestones at any of our CTV studios, so please send your announcement one of the 2 ways we just told you about. And please remember, we're not able to return any photographs.
No, sir.
No, no, ma'am.
Well, it's just a figure of speech. I didn't want to exclude half of our audience there.
All right.
It's time now to check in with Kelly Linehan, who is filling in tonight for Cindy Day, who's still on her way back from Boston. And Kelly, a little less to talk about than yesterday. That's a good thing.
The pressure is off a little bit, Jay. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there's no storm system rolling in as far as I know anyways. We've got nice clear skies. However, there is a chance of more flurries continuing tonight. A little bit of rain, especially if you're, say, in the Moncton area, PEI, and parts of Cape Breton as well. But Margaret turning 107 years old. A perfect day for a birthday. My goodness, nice and sunny skies out there today. And we will see the return of that nice clear skies coming up as soon as Sunday. So we've got some more flurries on the way tomorrow, which is perfect actually for our Christmas Daddies telethon kicking off tomorrow morning. So please join us for that. And it's actually a great day to stay inside and watch the telethon. Why not? But this is a beautiful shot of a nice December day. The Halifax waterfront looking over to Dartmouth to that side of the harbor. Lots more to tell you about in terms of weather. We'll have that more coming up right after the break. Stay with us.
Overcast skies in Sydney along Openhearth Park. This shot was actually taken from the Ferry Street Bridge, where it was pretty windy and pretty chilly. Not a big fan of the white stuff, but hey, it is December, correct?
Yes, it is. Okay, I was looking back to try and make us feel a little better.
Yes, thank you.
So in 2007, there was 3 storms that rolled across all of Canada, including here. So from coast to coast, Canada was white with snow. And then in 1997, we had 14 centimeters of snowfall today.
Okay, so now I just seem like the biggest complainer.
Sorry.
So no snow right now. So,
yes.
But hopefully people will still, stay indoors tomorrow and watch the telethon.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's going to be a perfect day for that. It's going to be a little chilly. There's going to be a dusting, hopefully, of some snowfall, so not enough.
And you're going to be on tomorrow, too, right?
Yes, ever so briefly, and then we'll have weather again tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we'll have more good news to report because there's nice sunny conditions coming up.
Oh, I love the sunshine.
Yes, this is a perfect forecast for this weekend because we've got some snow tomorrow to make it feel festive for our telethon.
Okay.
And then Sunday, you can get out and enjoy the nice sunny skies.
See, that's what I love, just, snow on Christmas Day, and then it can melt away. I'm just one of those people. I hate being cold, but it is so beautiful. I love watching the snow fall, especially when I'm indoors and I'm drinking a nice, dairy-free hot chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you need the dairy-free. Well, it does look a little wintry in Antigonish downtown right now. You can still see some snowfall there. And unfortunately, Anna, we are expecting a pretty traditional Canadian winter. Forecasters are calling for that. So be prepared for more snow than we're used to. Anyways, last year this time, it was pretty warm outside, too. So taking a look at our satellite radar, there's very little to talk about in terms of precipitation as long as we look at it anyways. I mean, in Cape Breton over PEI and then making its way to Newfoundland, there is some scattered showers there and some more flurries, but there is more developing overnight as well, though you just couldn't see it in that picture. So what we're dealing with tonight, again, that messy mix of both snow and rain, but if you happen to live in Moncton, temps down to 0, and then there is a greater chance of more rain for you. More rain on the way for Charlottetown and parts of Cape Breton as well, but in the higher elevations, expect that precipitation to be in the form of snow. -1 in Halifax as well as the South Shore, and -3 in northern New Brunswick. So things are cooling off and feeling more like December out there, although we're due for it, right? December 2nd already, and we're already into meteorological winter. It started yesterday, so this again is earned. 0 in Campbellton tomorrow. Afternoon flurry, starting your day off likely pretty cloudy, and northwesterly winds gusting 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow in PEI, a pretty soggy day for you there. Rainfall, about 5 millimeters of that, and then you're expecting some night flurries to roll in as things start to cool down overnight. Northwesterly winds 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. A very similar weather picture into Cape Breton and northeastern parts of Nova Scotia as well. 5 millimeters of rain is falling, especially in Cape Breton, but again, as we go to the higher ground, expecting that in snowfall. So total is about 5 centimeters of snow tomorrow, and at least it's warmer, 2 degrees. So that's probably one of the highest temperatures we'll see in our region tomorrow. Northwesterly winds 30 to 50 kilometers. If you happen to live in Truro, Amherst, Antigonish, this entire part of the province, expecting more snow than rain, about 2 centimeters of snowfall falling tomorrow. It's a pretty picture tomorrow, especially to stay indoors and watch our telethon. A rain flurry mix from beginning to end. You might get a little reprieve in the afternoon, but again, night flurries build in. 4 degrees is the high in Halifax, 3 in Windsor, and our winds gusting northwesterly 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. So that's making things feel a little bit more cooler than they actually are. 2 in Yarmouth, and there again, we are expecting more snowfall in the higher areas and some more shower activity. So I don't know about you, Anna and Maria, but it's a great excuse to stay inside and watch us tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure, Kelly. Thanks.
Did my voice break? I'm just so excited.
No, you said Anna and Maria.
I can see how he's easily confused by the gorgeous Maria Panovalis.
Anyway, it's time now for a dun-dun Law and Order edition of Need to Know. Yesterday, the Bellevue, Washington Police Department tweeted, "Is this your dog? Caught by officer at Robbinswood Park, was wearing a sweater and blue pants and very angry."
Of course he's angry. That sweater does not go with those
Not
pants.
at all.
Twitter quickly became captivated by this furry fugitive, asking some pretty obvious questions. Why is he wearing a sweater and pants, and why is he angry? And are those pants actually jeans?
It also led to a resurgence of a question that dominated the internet several months ago. If a dog wore pants, how would he wear them? To which the police department replied, number 2, obviously.
Obviously, the little guy is cooling his heels with animal services while waiting for someone to claim him. And we have a lot of questions.
Reminds me of when my sister Carrie dressed our old dog,
I did not know
Bessie.
where you were going with that. Yes.
When we were kids, we used to dress her, Bessie, up in Carrie's clothing and then put her outside and watch as vehicles came by, how they would stop and point to the dog. And
I dressed up my dogs all the time. I couldn't help it.
It ended terribly one day when
Okay, Jason, let's
Bessie
just
had
stop it. Stop.
there was an incident with the
What?
in the pink shorts, and well, they were my sister's favorite pink shorts, and they were never worn again.
Well, if you're having dinner right now, very sorry about that.
It's quite a memory. Anyway, still to come tonight. Flashback Friday looks back at Christmas Daddies 1969, plus an entertainment reporter named Anna Almeida is doing her thing. Take a look.
I'm Anna Almeida. Tonight in Section 6, I chat with
Zoe, Lily Bartlum, and we play Susan Walker.
And I'm Wade Lynch, and I play Kris Kringle.
Oh my goodness, you are in for a real treat. They are the cast of A Miracle on 34th Street, and we're going to get into some monkey business later, aren't we?
Yeah!
Stay tuned for that.
So today is C100 Stuff a Bus for Feed Nova Scotia. We're right here at 2900 Agricola Street collecting food and donations for Feed Nova Scotia.
Miss Moya Farrell and her C100 colleagues teamed up with Halifax Transit today for the annual Stuff a Bus campaign, collecting non-perishable food items to help local children and families in need during the holiday season. Last year, Stuff a Bus brought in over 24 tons of food for Feed Nova Scotia. And Moya, by the way, is retiring December 16th after an amazing 25 years on the C100 Morning Show. Steve, you and I both know her. She's
terrific. Moya has been very, very prominent in fundraising and philanthropy with Stuff a Bus and her work with breast cancer and so on. Tremendous loss, but we wish her well.
Yeah, miss her big smile for sure.
You want to believe it.
What's coming up at 6?
Well, the police in Halifax have had a tattoo shop surrounded for most of the day today. Jay, they say when they attempted to arrest a man, he produced a knife. Now, the suspect has been on social media this afternoon streaming live from inside the building while the police have been poised at the ready outside. We'll have more on this live coming up on CTV News at 6. Nova Scotia students marched in support of their teachers today. Some are wondering how a work to rule will affect their extracurricular activities come Monday. Tonight on CTV News, we're hearing from students about what they plan to do to deal with that job action and whether they're afraid it might cost them in the end. And also ahead tonight, settling in. We're hearing from 2 Syrian refugee families. They've been living here for almost a year now. Immigrant Services says overall, many of the newcomers are doing very well and they have found employment. Their federal funding assistance is about to run out, though. So what happens next? Well, one of the stories coming up here on CTV News at 6. After more here in the 5 o'clock hour, it's back to the Weather Center where Kelly Linehan's minding the store today for meteorologist Cindy Day. Kelly.
Yes, and it's great to report some good news too, Steve. So we do have some more flurries overnight and tomorrow, but our 5-day forecast is looking beautiful, if a little cold. So actually all of the Maritimes are taking a dip in terms of temperature as soon as Sunday. So in New Brunswick, -2 is the really chilly high, but -10 is our overnight low there. Things starting to clear up and lasting all the way through until Wednesday, where we see a little bit more cloud cover move in. Nova Scotia, chance of flurries right throughout the rest of our weekend, but then by Monday, it's clearing up, but also cooling off. Highs just to -1 for the rest of our work week. For Prince Edward Island, a little bit more soggy. 1 is the high for Sunday, and the chance of flurries there that persists for Monday, but you may see some sunny breaks then as well. And the sunshine comes out on Tuesday, highs to -3, but we do have more stormy weather to tell you about. That's happening in our 7-day. Back to you, Jane Maria.
We're not counting.
It's We love you. Just wrote it down. It's okay. It's okay. You know, stuff like this happens all the time.
Karen, don't let it bother you a bit. Anyways, that's what we're saying.
Yeah, poor thing. Okay. Well, Christmas Daddies has been a maritime tradition since the inception in 1964.
And we thought it'd be interesting to revisit some of the oldest video in our Daddies archive in tonight's Flashback Friday.
Beatrice is 8 years old and has 9 brothers and sisters. She likes Christmas, although it has never been very exciting for her. Her school friends seem to get many presents, but her mother can't afford such things. Beatrice tries her best not to let it bother her, but sometimes, well, she's just a kid and she can't help it.
For the next 7 hours, performers from as far away as Trinidad will be in our studios to entertain you. They are here to help us fulfill a dream of a good Christmas for a lot of kids. But
only you.
Wow.
Wow, what a voice.
What a voice is. The announcer and this singer is incredible. That was the opening from the 6th. Now, here we're doing the 53rd tomorrow. That was the 6th annual telethon in '69. Music's always been a big part of the show, as you can see, drawing lots of maritime and, in this case, international talent. As the announcer said, this band was from Trinidad. They performed on the Daddies show back then. Going to be plenty of music and entertainment during tomorrow's 53rd Christmas Daddies, reminding folks we go on the air at 11 o'clock and run through 6 on CTV.
I love watching old footage. It's just incredible. And just like you said, the voices. It's
I knew the name of that performer. It was amazing.
Awesome. All right, well, just ahead, we're headed to the theater.
Or be at the Statue of Liberty in the morning, and in the afternoon, fly south with a flock of geese.
We'll put the spotlight on Neptune's latest production, Miracle on 34th Street. That's coming up. Stay with us in Section 6.
This segment is brought to you by Charm Diamonds, chosen forever at a Charm Diamond Center.
Welcome back, everybody. As you can see, the Section 6/CML set here looking really good for Christmas Daddies. Before we get to that, though, you spent some time on stage at Neptune with some talented actors, young and old.
Very true. Miracle on 34th Street is their latest production, and I caught up with the cast. Take a look.
Shall I tell you what I did in school today?
By all means. Any games?
Yes. And a very silly game, too.
Oh?
Zoe, Lily, you guys play Susan Walker.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about your character and what made you guys want to actually play her.
Well, because she's very nice. She's very grown up, because I like to be grown up, too, sometimes. And she's very truthful. She always tells the truth, never a lie.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's very sweet.
She's very cool. How do you remember all those lines?
Well, we started like as soon as we got the script, and then we'd practice like every day that it had a break on dance and voice lessons. And then like my friends would help me out, and just a lot of support. And
does your friend think you have a cool job?
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, Wade, you probably have the best job because you play Kris Kringle.
Yes.
So what's been the reaction like for you?
You know, to play a character who is this recognizable and beloved is a gift, because it comes with instant niceness. But it's really neat to play the part that he's also a human being.
Yeah.
That he can get angry, he can get upset, he can get be happy for a moment. So there's all this color that you get from the character that you don't get from a greeting card. You can be a monkey.
But I don't know how to be a monkey.
Oh, it's very simple. Here, I'll show you. Now, first of all, you just sort of lean over like this.
I think you guys do such a wonderful job. One of my favorite scenes is the monkey scene. Yes, I love that. And I was wondering, since I have all of you here, maybe you guys could give me a lesson, and maybe I'll find my inner monkey.
I think that's a great
Is that doable? Yeah, should we do it? All right, let's go for it. Okay.
So your first lesson in monkeyness.
Yes.
Now, the first thing is to free up your imagination. You can't access your inner monkey if you don't have an imagination. So imagine you're in the jungle.
Yes.
What do they look like? All right, now, first of all, we must accommodate the body. So We bend over a bit, exactly like that. Okay. Right? Get your solar plexus loose, and then let your arms hang down like this. That's right. Are they hanging down loose?
Yes,
That's
like
it, follow the girl.
Like that?
That's
Okay.
it, That's it. Fine, fine. And now you take one of your available hands and find a place that itches and start to scratch it, because monkeys constantly scratch.
Yeah.
Oh, and enjoy that scratch. And if you like to go side to side, that's exercise.
How's that?
Now, the most important thing is you don't want to be a solitary monkey. You want to call your friends. So let's do that monkey chatter. Now listen. Everyone. Now, keep scratching. Scratch and chatter. Scratch and chatter. And now you pick bugs from each other's hair. We grow. That's the part you don't get to see in the show.
Are they tasty?
Yeah, they're humbugs.
Guys? Okay, first of all, I don't know if I play a very good monkey, but you guys do, and I want to thank you so much for my lesson. You guys are great. How did you think I did?
Fantastic.
Thumbs up?
Amazing.
Aw, thank you. Can I get a hug? Yay!
There we
Thank
go.
you guys. It's so much fun.
You were really good. You were really good.
Oh,
At the picking the bugs part, you were really good.
Yeah,
You were really,
the things I
really
do,
good at that.
things I do, but it was all in good fun. Yep. All right, well, the production, Jayson won't say it. It runs until December 31st at Neptune Theater. Said your name.
We both seen it. My favorite thing about it was the acting. It is top notch. Chris Kringle's amazing, and so are those child actors. They're
Fantastic.
spot on.
Okay, I want to tell you about a concert announcement. Jen Grant will be performing at the Rebecca Cohen Auditorium in Halifax on May 13th.
Big
Tickets are on sale right now.
Okay, so you have, I guess this is our last reminder,
this
isn't
Friday.
it? Our contest.
Yes, okay.
Go right ahead, Anna.
Thank you, Jayson. CTV News at 5 and Sonic Concerts wants you to spend an evening with Juno-winning band Arkells, and that's not all.
We're also throwing in a night at the Delta, a pair of tickets to the show, and a meet and greet with the band. To enter, just go to ctvatlantic.ca, click on the contest button, and follow the prompts. You can enter once a day until this Sunday, December 4th. We'll announce the lucky winner a week from today, Friday, December 9th, right here on Section 6. Good luck, everyone.
Oh, you just took all of it. I couldn't say anything.
You're complaining because I didn't say it. Now I said too much.
Well, you know, things happen.
What's up with this?
It makes you want to sing, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is going to, so our performers tomorrow in the Halifax studio are going to be using this.
Yeah.
Doesn't make me
I'm going
want
to be introing them as well tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah, sing something,
you,
please.
No, that's okay. I'll be your backup singer.
Okay.
What do you got?
Silent night, holy night.
Holy night.
That's all I got.
All is, come on.
No. Jingle bells, jingle. No. Oh. All right, coming up next, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown.
Sorry. I would have been in big trouble. My daughter's birthday today. It's a big day in the Baxter household. That was our lunch date today. That's my oldest daughter, Sierra. 20 years old today. We're over at Terex across the street, one of our favorite places to hang out. And she is. Look how beautiful she is. Not even the tiniest bit of makeup on her. She's a natural beauty and a great kid. And we're very, very proud of her. We love her.
Thank you to our director for remembering.
Yes, or I would have been in trouble.
All right, coming up next, Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown.
Christmas time is here. We'll be joining.
This choir will make even the hardest heart melt. That's when we return.
Stay with us.
Yes, stay with us.
Welcome back to CTV News at 5. We have to meet some beautiful weather watchers with some beautiful drawings right now. First up, we have 5-year-old Emma Greeno from Woodville, Hants County. Emma drew a colorful Christmas tree under a rainbow. Lovely picture, Emma. Thank you so much for that. Next, we have 5-year-old Quinn West from Stellarton, Nova Scotia. Quinn drew a little girl who remembers to put her outfit on, and loves the raindrops on her. And finally, we have a 4-year-old named Naomi Rideout from Manhurst, New Brunswick. Naomi and her parents are enjoying a walk on a rainy day. Great job, all of you. Thank you so much for those amazing drawings. And we'll have more of those coming up with Cindy and over our weekend. Now, our storm tracker, there is still some stormy weather. It looks like over mostly Cape Breton, but Charlottetown and the rest of PEI is in for a soaker tonight. More millimeters falling there. Wind gusts, too, have tapered off a little bit, but we are expecting them northwesterly between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour throughout tonight. And our temperature right now, things are cooling off and will continue to throughout our week. 2 right now in Halifax, 1 in Fredericton, and 2 in Charlottetown. So all these areas also expecting some flurries overnight, and that will continue tomorrow, as well as a chance of showers, especially if you are in PEI or in some areas of New Brunswick as well. So Moncton, for instance, you're waking up to some showers instead of flurries, but most New Brunswick just cloud cover before there's a chance of flurries building in by the afternoon. -2 is likely the temperature you're waking up to tomorrow, and northwesterly winds 20 kilometers per hour. Nova Scotia, a flurry rain mix from beginning to end tomorrow. So starting in the morning, we might get a little break midday, but then a chance of flurries returns by the afternoon hours. Awfully gusty out there tomorrow as well. Northwesterly winds gusting 30 to 50 kilometers per hour, and things are cooling off. -1 is what we're likely waking up to tomorrow. Lastly, in PEI, 5 millimeters of rain falling throughout the course of the day, but then by the evening hours, you have a chance of flurries, 2 degrees then. Let's see if I can do this now. Jay and Anna.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah, great job. We knew you had it in you, girl.
That was tense.
Look at it.
A little worried. Oh, that is also helpful. Can we keep those on?
Yeah, it's long overdue. We should have been wearing name
It's
tags
our fault,
years
really.
ago.
Really, it is our fault.
It's really not.
All right, well, we want to end the show tonight and this week with something CTV Morning Live aired this morning. We thought it was cute, beautiful, and definitely worth showing. Again, just in case you missed it.
This is the Sacred Heart School Choir, who will be performing in Tales of a Charlie Brown Christmas this Sunday at the Spatz Theatre in Halifax.
Christmas time is here, happiness and cheer, fun for all that children call their favorite time of year.
Hi, I'm Adele Merritt, and I'm the music teacher at Sacred Heart Elementary School. And I've had the privilege of directing the children in the Charlie Brown Choir for the last month or so.
Olden times and ancient rhymes of love and dreams to share.
It's been amazing. We were thrilled to get the invitation, first of all, to appear with Jerry Granelli and his trio, and to have the children come and relive something that is just a classic and has been around since the 60s, and teach them the movie from a simpler time, a less hectic world, and just have them enjoy the simplicity.
All right, now, we're going to do this play, and we're going to do it right.
Charlie Brown is a really, really cool fiction. He's a fictional character, sorry, and and he has a yellow and black shirt, and he has many, many friends.
In Christmas time, he finds this little tree, and all the friends it's like, where'd you get that little tree? It's so little. Why would you get a little tree?
You've been dumb before, Charlie Brown, but this time you really did it. What a tree!
I'm looking forward to how Linus is gonna say his speech, and Charlie Brown is gonna ask him what Christmas is all about.
I like it when Charlie Brown's little tree gets decorated really nice.
Yuletide by the fireside and joyful memories there.
I'm excited to see them standing up there, being proud on stage, and just performing for the audience.
On Saturday, we're having a rehearsal with Jerry Granelli, and we're going to meet him, and I'm really excited about that.
Jerry Granelli is the music director, and his trio are the music people in Tales of a Charlie Brown Christmas. And I think they did a really, really good job in making the music because it's fun to sing, and it's not really boring and exciting.
I'm really looking forward just to be performing in front of the big audience. It's really fun.
I love how there are harmony parts and how it blends very well with everybody singing together.
I really love Christmas Time is Here. I love that nostalgic piece. I think when they open the show with that, it's just going to set the tone. It's going to be beautiful.
What's going on here?
Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown!
So sweet.
That was beautiful. Tales of a Charlie Brown Christmas is at the Spatz Theatre this Sunday in Halifax.
That's right.
Let's get to our primetime lineup.
E-Talk, 7 o'clock, 7:30 The Big Bang Theory, 8 o'clock Blue Bloods, 9 o'clock Fantastic Beats and J.K. Rowling's Wizard World, 10 o'clock Shark Tank, CTV National News at 11, and all your local news at 11:30 with Amanda Deppison.
And Monday on CTV News at 5, Ed Bolter, a photographer in the Halifax area, has survived cancer, and now he's helping fellow survivors with an amazing photo shoot. We'll tell you all about it on Monday's show.
All right.
It was fun having you guys fill in.
Thank you.
As well. We're going to, yes?
Yeah,
Let's check in with Steve right now.
All right, thank you, Jay and Anna. And now for this Friday, December 2nd, live and local. This is CTV News at 6. Tonight, primetime standoff. A suspect takes to social media as the police surround his home.
All kinds of people going. We got live 504 viewers.
Walking out, students show their support for teachers ahead of a work to rule.
There's a lot of negotiations that should be happening that aren't.
And picture perfect, millions earmarked for the Fundy Trail.
This helps create jobs for New Brunswickers, and this investment will certainly continue that momentum in our opinion.
Live from our Maritime News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Steve Murphy.
Good evening, everyone. Leading off here tonight with a police standoff that is playing out live on Facebook. It began this morning when Halifax police attempted to arrest a man at a house in the Fairview area. They pulled back when a man appeared with a weapon. Images from inside the building have now been live streaming for several hours. Let's go now live to CTV's Ron Shaw at the scene. What is the situation there right now, Ron?
Steve, the situation continues. It's been about 9 hours almost since this whole thing began. A strange but peaceful thing so far, this standoff. We have the man, he began live tweeting, or live posting, I should say, to Facebook about halfway through that period of time, about 4 hours ago. The posts have been everything from complaints about his situation to videos of tattooing, since this is a tattoo parlor. So we're still waiting for this thing to come to a close. This tattoo parlor on Titus Street in Fairview was the focus of police concerns. Police formed a perimeter and blocked adjacent streets as they tried to communicate with the man inside. Inside, the man police were trying to arrest had taken to social media.
All kinds of people going. We got live 504 viewers at Reds Inc. Baby G Studios. Baby G Studios, Reds Inc. Welcome to Chris's world.
Police say they arrived at the house a little after 9 o'clock this morning to make an arrest on breaches of conditions related to earlier charges. That's when they were confronted by a man wielding a knife. That's when police backed away and called in extensive backup. Officers with assault rifles kept watch. The emergency response team arrived, a police dog, even fire trucks.
Anytime police do have contact with anybody, there always is an unknown situation. So we always have to be aware of our surroundings and alert of what's going on.
A neighbor was surprised when he left his house next door.
I walked out of my place, and there's like a SWAT team just like right across the street, and I had no idea what was going on, and then an officer came and told me that I need to go in that direction.
At times during the Facebook feed, the camera was pointed out these windows at the onlookers, police, and media outside. The live feed was even played back on a vehicle stereo in the parking lot across the street.
Look at that. Look at that tattoo.
Traffic was disrupted for most of the day. A restaurant owner says he hasn't had a single customer all day.
We have a lot of problems that we deal with on a regular basis in our store, like people coming in, stealing our little donation jars, violence in the store, customers throwing chairs at each other.
Police say they have been negotiating with the barricaded man from the beginning, trying to convince him to give himself up peacefully. Now, Steve, in the last half hour, within the last hour, I suppose, or so, there has been some activity by the police around the house. Now, one man who's been here watching the Facebook feed tells us that the man inside asked for chocolate milk and that it was very carefully delivered to him by police. So perhaps this thing may be getting a little bit closer to some kind of resolution. We can only wait and see. Steve?
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on it, Ron. Thank you very much. CTV's Ron Shaw. live tonight from the Fairview area in Halifax. Well, if actions speak louder than words, hundreds of Nova Scotia high school students have sent a strong and loud message of support for their teachers today. They walked out of high schools across the province on the last school day before the teachers begin a work to rule on Monday. That's the latest escalation in their contract dispute with the provincial government. Our team coverage begins here now live in Halifax with CTV's Sarah Ritchie at Citadel High School. Sarah.
Steve, as you may expect, not every student who walked out of schools like Citadel today seemed to have a thorough knowledge of this labor dispute, and there were certainly those who seemed to be taking advantage of the opportunity to skip classes this afternoon. But for those who did stay and rally, they seemed to feel they made their point.
5, 6, 7, 8, come on, see, negotiate.
It may sound like the kind of thing you'd hear on the picket line, but these aren't strikers. They're students rallying at Province House in Halifax. The scene repeating itself from Sydney to Yarmouth, Tuscott to Dartmouth, upset about the upcoming work to rule job action.
If teachers do the work to rule, then it'll make it harder for me to get good education.
And saying they've taken sides in this dispute.
I want to be able to make sure that they have the resources and the ability to be able to do their job.
This is the time that they would give their free time to be with us, whether that means doing math extra help, organizing student council lunchtime events.
The choice to walk out isn't publicly supported by either side in the dispute. The teachers' union says it's chosen work to rule so students will be in class. The education minister echoing that yesterday, calling the walkouts disappointing.
I think her response to even those rallies yesterday was absolutely ridiculous. I don't think she understands how we feel about what's happening in our classrooms.
And though many thousands of Nova Scotian students chose to stay in class today, organizers say they're pleased their message is being heard, especially on the doorsteps of MLAs.
And we just got to get there. We got to get both parties to the table to work on an agreement.
School boards had warned students that participating would mean they'd be marked absent for the day. Many say they got around that by having parents call to excuse them. But at Millwood High in Lower Sackville, many seem to heed the warning.
Our school principal and our school police liaison, and they warned us that if we did leave, that there would be consequences, that we could risk getting suspended, and that if we became unpeaceful, that we would risk getting arrested.
Only a handful of Millwood students walked out. No one here was arrested, and the protests were peaceful.
There's a lot of negotiations that should be happening that aren't.
And until they do, expect to see more scenes like this. A group calling itself Nova Scotia Parents for Teachers has organized a rally on Monday. Sarah Ritchie, CTV News, Halifax.
Students for teachers! Students for teachers!
I'm Kellen Sundall in Bedford, Nova Scotia. As students with Charles P. Allen High march in support of their teachers, they can't help but think about Monday.
We have breakfast programs at our school that provide food to kids in the morning who don't get it at home and stuff. And I'm not going to be able to see like the food that's laid out for kids in the early morning every day.
There's just a lot, like, just being taken away from us. And we're not getting much of a voice in it at all.
Carter Hiscock requires extra help at school. He's worried about his grades if that guidance isn't available.
I know my teachers and they care about me a lot, but the fact that I know that they want to help but they can't, that's just the hardest part for me coming to school like that.
Another victim of work to rule is extracurricular activities, which include sports and holiday events. In some cases, parents are stepping in and hosting Christmas concerts independent of the school.
Shall I tell you what I did in school today?
By all means.
A special showing for students of Miracle on 34th Street has been canceled. Neptune Theatre was expecting 440 to fill the seats next week. However, planned field trips aren't happening.
We value the opportunity to provide live theater to our students, and we're actually working with each of the schools to explore an opportunity where their students can come and view another performance.
So far, 6 field trips to Nova Scotia's Museum of Natural History have been canceled. Officials with the museum call it a missed learning opportunity. Then there's Niam Lucier, who just wants the union and government back at the table.
I don't see why you can't just talk about things until something gets done. It takes, I don't know, just 2 people to sit down and have a conversation. If you can't do that, then I don't have that much faith in there.
A clear and simple answer for a situation that is anything but. Come Monday, the impact of this job action will be felt by thousands of students right across the province. And Steve, as this work to rule continues, the impact will become even more clear.
All right, thank you, Kellen. CTV's Kellen Sundall with Sarah Ritchie in Halifax. In the web poll, we're asking, how do you feel about students walking out to show their support for the teachers? The options are, I agree with it, it's an effective way to show their support, or I disagree with it, students should stay in class, I don't like it, but it is their right to do so, or students should stay out of the dispute altogether. The web poll will be on for the weekend at atlantic.ctvnews.ca. Those who've been hardest hit in the flood zone in Sydney today called an emergency meeting to say enough is enough. While the minister responsible for EMO says money will be rolled out soon to more than 600 people affected, many who have lost their homes will not be included. CTV's Kyle Moore has the story.
We've been patiently listening to excuses by EMO for delaying getting back to us with what we were promised.
Emotions have reached a boiling point for the residents whose homes were destroyed by the Thanksgiving Day flood. Homeless for more than 7 weeks now.
It just never ends. They have no idea what we deal with every day. It's not okay. Nothing's going to be okay.
Residents say they received calls today from EMO, but it's not good news. The disaster assistance offered is less than half of what homes and their contents are valued at.
I'm going to lose 18 years of mortgage payments. I have to go and buy a new home.
Robert Clemens had more than 7 feet of water in his home. He's now left with a choice of repairing or being bought out. Neither option realistically viable.
The day Premier McNeil walked into my home, tapped me on the back and said, things will be better. Well, they're not.
MLA Derek Mumbercat, representing the provincial government today, says they are doing the best they can.
All of the reports are completed. The tests that they needed to make final decisions are done. So now we're moving into the phase where we're going to meet with the families one-on-one to talk about their compensation package and what they qualify for, of course, under the disaster relief program.
Flood victims say they would like Minister Zach Churchill and other federal and provincial politicians to come here to Sydney and meet with them. They say they have made a number of calls to try and arrange meetings, but their phone calls have not been returned.
We're finding out that the possibility of financial ruin and bankruptcy is really more than a possibility. It's inevitable that that's going to happen to a lot of the families in our community.
A community that should be getting ready for the holiday season, but no one here feels like celebrating. Kyle Moore, CTV News, Sydney.
The residents of Halifax's only shelter for women and children who are victims of domestic violence have been displaced after a flood significantly damaged the building. Bryony House says they have been moved to other shelters, but they still are receiving support from Bryony. The team's 24-hour emergency helpline is also still working. Repairs are underway at the house. They hope to reopen by the middle of this month. In late October, the federal government announced it's providing $3 million to help with the construction of a replacement for the aging building. A court date today for a man accused of second-degree murder in a shooting in Halifax sparked extra precautions at the courthouse. Additional sheriffs and regional police officers were present as 21-year-old Carvel Clayton appeared via video link, charged with killing Shakur Jeffries. At his last court appearance 2 weeks ago, people in the gallery rushed toward the accused. Today's appearance was much calmer. The case was put over until December 14th, when he'll be back to set the dates for a preliminary hearing. A pair of diamond thieves from Ontario have been sentenced today for stealing a diamond from a St. John jewelry store. Grigory Zaharov and Natalia Feldman admitted in court today that they are the thieves seen in this store surveillance video. They were arrested at their home in the Toronto area and pleaded guilty to theft over $5,000. Feldman has no criminal record. She was handed a suspended sentence and a period of probation. Zaharov has 14 prior convictions for theft. He received a 1-year sentence and probation as well. Both are banned from entering jewelry stores in New Brunswick. The stolen diamond has been recovered and will be returned to the store. There's been a search today for a missing man in the Sydney area. The regional police and search and rescue were seen combing the Sydney waterfront looking for 62-year-old Murdoch Daniel McCharles, last seen November 25th, leaving his home. He's described as about 5'8", 170 pounds, with gray hair and blue eyes. The police wouldn't say what led them to the waterfront today. 2 tourist destinations in New Brunswick will be linked within the next 5 years. The province and the federal government have announced a joint infrastructure project worth $45 million to connect St. Martin's to Fundy National Park. CTV's Jonathan McGuinness was in Alma for the announcement today.
Your provincial government is investing $32 million towards...
The Fundy Trail Parkway connector is 32 kilometers long, stretching from St. Martin's through Sussex and ending up in Alma, New Brunswick.
The Fundy Trail and everything it has to offer is a crucial part of our tourism sector.
The tourism industry brings in more than $500 million to New Brunswick every year, and Premier Brian Gallant says he's confident the province's investment will pay off through increased visitation.
Once this is all finalized, it's going to improve the experience, it's going to increase the amount of tourists coming to New Brunswick and coming to this region of the province as well, which in turn creates jobs for New Brunswick.
The total cost is $45 million. The province is paying for 32, while the federal government is chipping in with the remaining $13 million.
The Trudeau government is very invested in making sure that we have infrastructure that will last for a long time, impact a lot of people, and allow businesses to really grow.
While pleased the project is moving forward, Sussex Fundy St. Martin's Conservative MLA Bruce Northrup says this announcement should have been made a long time ago.
It was a long time coming. Since the 2014 election, there hasn't been anything done by the provincial government over the last 2 years.
At Fundy National Park, visitation was up by 15% in 2016. Park officials expect that number to grow.
Our visitation is about 300,000, so yeah, we're between 300 and 350,000 visitors a year. So in the next couple of years, we expect that number to just keep increasing.
The connector road to Sussex will be finished in 2019. The section to Alma will open in 2020, and the entire project will be completed by 2021. Jonathan McGuinness, CTV News, Alma, New Brunswick.
There is a familiar routine underway in St. John tonight, one that will likely last through the weekend and maybe even longer. The city has again imposed a boil order over quality concerns in a water system that's still without adequate treatment facilities. Concerns this time stirred up by this week's stormy weather, although there may be some hope on the horizon. CTV's Mike Cameron has the story.
These are among the busiest of days for anyone in the water delivery business. But it's nothing they haven't experienced many times in recent years.
Oh, we've seen it before. We've delivered it before. And when the boil order comes on, we just shake our heads and here we go again.
Among the deliveries today to a North End market, where it's extra expense and extra work for Dan Cullen.
It's kind of a pain when we have to use our stock of bottled water to wash our dishes and boil our water with basically kettles.
The boil order is in place because the city cannot guarantee the water is safe to drink. A lot will depend on what happens here. The water level is low at one of the east side reservoirs. But the weather has cleared, the wind has died down, and the water clarity is improving.
We have seen a decrease in turbidity. It has returned to normal levels today and back within normal operating range, and that's as a result of wind conditions changing.
Not far away, the largest municipal project in New Brunswick history is in progress, building a modern water treatment plant and replacing kilometers of ancient underground pipes. The new treatment plant offers hope to a city where boil orders have become routine, but the project is in its early stages, and the new system won't be online for about another 2 years. In the meantime, the water coming from the tap today does not have the approval of the health department.
You know, even though we use chlorine to kill germs when there's turbidity, it's not as efficient. So really, there is a greater risk. So I know you asked the question before, do you have faith in the water, and this is just precautionary? Well, it may or may not be just precautionary.
Testing will be done over the weekend. The earliest the boil order could be lifted is Sunday evening. Mike Cameron, CTV News, St. John.
Water is one problem, but power is another. About 1,600 customers are still in the dark in New Brunswick tonight after what has been a challenging week for NB Power and thousands who've lost their power. The heavy snow plunged new areas into darkness overnight. Some could still be without power through the night tonight and into tomorrow. CTV's Nick Moore with an update.
power crews were back up in the air again today, continuing to put the lights back on. While the number of outages in the Fredericton and Moncton areas fell today, crews were dealing with new problems after a week of bad weather.
Yesterday, with the second storm, we saw more outages come in through the northwest and the northern part of the province.
NB Power says crews have been hindered by wet, heavy snow, both on power infrastructure and the roadways.
We were hearing reports of very treacherous road conditions. Our crews were having difficulty accessing some of the sites. We were hearing of road closures or roads being blocked altogether.
According to NB Power, about 200 line and tree cutting crews were on the ground today, with a few from outside New Brunswick, including Hydro-Quebec. Many are surprised wet, heavy snow from this week could make such an impact, although some have become accustomed and even bought generators, especially in the aftermath of post-tropical storm Arthur in 2014.
We've had to use it a couple of times now, and we were really pleased.
For those still in the dark right now, NB Power says efforts to restore electricity will continue tonight, but could stretch into tomorrow. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
Now, nearly a year after they arrived, Syrian refugees will soon lose their federal funding. In Nova Scotia, not even a quarter of them have secured full-time employment. Immigrant Services maintains that's actually a pretty good number, but nobody seems to know how many newcomers will now rely on provincial assistance. CTV's Kayla Hounsel has our story tonight.
The Almuazin family is proud to display both of their cultures. They came to Canada from Syria as government-assisted refugees in February.
الحياة رائعة جدا جميلة جدا.
Mohammed Almuazin still struggles with English, but through an interpreter tells us he's very happy to be in Halifax. His wife asks if she can try to speak to us in English.
All people here friendly, understand me. Sometimes I speak Arabic and some word English, no problem.
It hasn't been easy.
I am very scared before. No sleep, no eat, no anything.
But now they both have jobs. Mohammed a cook at Jack Astor's, his wife a hairdresser. His sons are taking courses.
When I moved to Canada, my language was like zero.
Across town, the Hassan family is still struggling. A mother and her 4 adult children living in a 3-bedroom apartment. None of them have jobs, and their federal funding runs out next month.
In our country, we don't need diploma or any certificate to work.
The Nova Scotia government says it has no idea how many Syrians may need provincial assistance in the coming months. It doesn't know how many are already in the workforce. But the Department of Community Services will accept applications as they come. The Immigrant Services Association says of the roughly 200 adults that have settled in Nova Scotia, 40 of them have been able to find full-time work.
That's an amazing number, taking into consideration, first of all, that they all came, most of them, 90% of them, came with lower language levels.
Mohammed Almuazin would one day like to own his own business here, as he did in Syria. But for now, he's enjoying working with his co-workers at the restaurant. I love them, and I think they love me too, he says. They're not worried about what happens when government funding runs out.
Thank you, government, for giving me 1 year money. And this is very good for my family. And now I need help myself.
Those who work in immigrant services are clear to point out there will still be support available for those who need it when the first year is up. The Almuazin family is now committed to helping other newcomers. They say they are truly living the Canadian dream. Kayla Hounsel, CTV News, Halifax.
Thank you, Kayla. Still ahead for us on CTV News at 6. Tough decision for the Trudeau government. We're heading to Ottawa for reaction to the pipeline announcements this week with CTV's Craig Oliver. And also Craig's insight into what those announcements mean for Energy East. Also ahead here, the Christmas Daddies weekend forecast with Kelly Linehan substituting for Cindy Day here in the CTV Weather Center. But coming next, it's farewell to Fidel. Thousands paid respects today as the cross-country procession of the late Cuban leader's ashes continues. We'll have more from Cuba next on CTV News. Toronto stock market gained 25 points today, closing 15,052 and change. The venture up almost 10 and just over 749. In New York, the Dow lost 21.5, NASDAQ up 4.5. Overseas trade today, Tokyo Nikkei down 87, London Financial Times 100 was down by 22. Canadian dollar today up 1/5 of a cent, closing at 75.28 US. An ounce of gold at $1177.80, a gain of $840 US. And oil closed at $51.59, 53 cents higher than yesterday. Baytex Energy, most active stock in Toronto, with the local interest stocks here now. Canada's labour market unexpectedly added more than 10,000 net jobs last month, dropping the unemployment rate to 6.8%. Another monthly decline in full-time work more than offset by a gain in part-time jobs. Around here, jobless rate is up in Nova Scotia. It is significantly lower, though, in both New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. Nova Scotia gasoline prices are higher heading into the weekend. The regular self-serve is up 1.6 cents a litre in the Halifax area. New minimum is $1.04.3. Over at the diesel pumps, price is up 0.7 cents. The minimum is $1.02.7 per litre. Officials in Tennessee confirm 2 Canadians are among 13 people who've died in a massive wildfire. The Canadian couple, originally from Woodstock, Ontario, identified as John and Marilyn Tegler. Their family confirms the couple had dual American and Canadian citizenship. They were in Tennessee to celebrate the American Thanksgiving. The Teglers would have celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary this year. They were unable to flee the fierce flames, which have so far destroyed more than 1,000 structures and consumed 17,000 acres of land. The remains of Fidel Castro have been winding through Cuba in a 900-kilometer journey to Santiago de Cuba, where he is being laid to rest. A massive funeral is set for Saturday night, but until then, his trek is attracting tens of thousands of ordinary Cubans as they say goodbye to the revolutionary leader. CTV's Todd Battis, once again from Cuba.
Cubans line town streets and the main highway by the tens of thousands, often waiting the better part of the day to catch a glimpse of the motorcade. A procession tracing in reverse the route Fidel Castro took from Santiago de Cuba to Havana after the revolution of 1958. Workers, farmers, students were bused to roadside spots, whether in an act of patriotism or compliance, to salute the architect of the communist state. Each night, the remains stopped in a place of significance. In life, Castro roused his people with pro-socialist speeches. His death is being used to further entrench his cause. He gave us everything, including a future. Before there was only poverty, says Mariano, recalling his life as a child in Santiago. Activity in the city of 500,000 people is expected to come to a halt Saturday as the remains arrive. We will all be there to salute our eternal commander, vows Evelyn, a third-year medical student. The birthplace of the revolution and Castro's final resting place is racing through last-minute upgrades in time for his internment at Cuba's most important cemetery. The main streets and center of this port city are in effect shut down for what is expected to be the largest funeral service ever held in this country. Todd Battis, Santiago de Cuba, Cuba.
Coming up in the health and medical news, new research suggests that leading a healthy lifestyle could cut all cancer deaths by about half. Plus, an amazing video of a tornado touching down near Atlanta earlier in the week. Coming next, a snowy look at the amphitheater at Fundy National Park. It's pretty. We'll have the forecast for the weekend with Kelly Linehan substituting for meteorologist Cindy Day in the CTV Weather Center.
The weather is brought to you in part by your Atlantic Ford dealers, where it's easy to get into a Ford.
Just after 6:30, it's time for the weather forecast with Kelly Linehan substituting tonight for meteorologist Cindy Day in the CTV Weather Center. It's a pretty nice day today.
It was stunning, yeah, but we're going to have some flurries roll in, Steve, just in time for Christmas Daddies tomorrow.
You know, Cindy would call that cosmetic snow.
Oh, at this point it is, because there's very little of it. So it actually is just a nice light dusting just in time for the telethon.
Sounds good.
Get us in the festive spirit. So it's going to be a little chillier, though, across the country in the west. as soon as tomorrow, it looks like. So there is already a special weather statement in effect for much of the BC coastline, dropping 10 degrees below seasonal thanks to an Arctic air mass moving down from Alaska. Cooler still in the prairies. Actually, there's a wind warning just south of Calgary right now, and -4 in Regina. Moving further across to Manitoba, -3 in Winnipeg tonight, -1 in Thunder Bay. A little bit warmer, though, into southern Ontario. 3 degrees is the overnight low in Toronto, and there is some snowfall in Quebec. Highs just to 0 overnight. Warmer, though, in beautiful Boston, where Cindy Day is just arriving from. 8 degrees there overnight and 4 in Bangor. And you can see there already is some showers in Stephenville right now. That's our system that we saw yesterday, but it's taken a hike for now. But we do have a chance of more flurries like we were just talking about overnight and lasting into tomorrow, too. So our satellite radar doesn't show too much in the way of precipitation, the exception being over Cape Breton and parts of PEI, and that will persist tonight because things are a little bit warmer for you, so you might be seeing more rainfall tonight. For the rest of us, though, it looks like more flurries in the forecast, but as Cindy would say, purely cosmetic. It likely won't be lasting or sticking on the ground anyways. 0 in Bathurst, -2 in St. John tonight, and 2 degrees in Charlottetown. There will be a little bit more accumulation, though, if you're in the higher parts of Cape Breton and northeastern parts of Nova Scotia. Expect more snowfall there. For tomorrow, though, things are going to clear up a little bit. There is some sunny breaks, but a chance of afternoon flurries developing for pretty much all of New Brunswick. The exception being Moncton. You'll be seeing more rain than snow. 2 degrees is your high there, and 1 in Miramichi, and freezing across the northern parts of the province. So things are taking a dive temperature-wise. 3 is the high across PEI tomorrow, and a pretty soggy day for you there, too. So rainfall accumulations about 5 millimeters. However, there is a chance of night flurries developing by the afternoon in the evening hours, and the winds are gusting northwesterly 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. For Cape Breton and northeastern parts of Nova Scotia, too, warmer into Cape Breton, 2 degrees there, but again, pretty soggy day. So more rain and more snow in the higher elevations. If you're in the Antigonish, Truro, Amherst areas, expect about 2 centimeters of snowfall. For the rest of Nova Scotia, a pretty gray day, rain flurry mix, a perfect day to stay inside and check out the telethon. Why not? 4 is the high in Bridgewater. A chance of more flurries developing by the evening hours again, and gusty too between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour northwesterly. We're going to see that north wind carry on this wet weather as soon as Sunday. Nice and sunny skies there, -2 there, and it's going to target a big drop in terms of temperature for the rest of the week for New Brunswick. Highs just to -5 Monday, Tuesday. Warmer on Wednesday, though, 0 and -1 for Thursday. And then we're going to see another weather system arrive as soon as Friday, a rain-snow mix by then. A very similar weather story in Nova Scotia as well. So we're going to say cloudy for the rest of our weekend. Highs just to 2 degrees. Taking a dip, though, as this high-pressure system moves in, bringing with it clear weather, but it will be cold weather. And then more rain develops on Friday, but temperatures take a big hike. Highs to 11 degrees by then. And then for PEI, what we have in store for you is a little bit more soggy conditions. So you're going to see a chance of flurries by Monday, but as well as some sunny breaks. The sun comes out for a very brief peak on Tuesday. Cloud cover there, and then it's going to last all the way until Friday. Wednesday, we could see more rain and more snow.
Now, if those temperature profiles hold, that's going to be unusually mild by this time next week.
And it was very cool overnight, too. So.
Sure.
From -10 in New Brunswick overnight. So that's going to be pretty chilly.
That's
Feels like winter.
December. You want to believe it. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Kelly's back once more before we conclude here at 7. Health and medical news is coming up in the second half of the broadcast tonight. We have some incredible video of a tornado touching down near Atlanta. We'll show you that as well. Next, though, it's pipeline politics. Tough decisions by the Trudeau government. CTV's Craig Oliver weighing in from Ottawa on what it means, particularly what it means for the Energy East pipeline. And now to Friday Politics, our weekly look at the nation's business and what it all means with CTV's chief political commentator, Craig Oliver, there on Parliament Hill. Good to see you, sir.
Hi, Steve.
I want to start where we promised we would with the pipeline decision, which we did get this week, Craig. The decision to approve the Kinder Morgan and Line 3 pipes and not approve the Northern Gateway. These are all, you know, to be quite honest, quite a long way away from us. What are the political implications of the approval and the failure to approve for Mr. Trudeau?
Well, it's really all about Kinder Morgan into Vancouver and Burrard Inlet. And, you know, look, I think that there is going to be opposition to this pipeline like we've never seen before in Canada. There will be mass arrests, people rolling themselves in front of the earth movers. One hopes there will not be violence, but the government is seriously worried about outside organizers coming in and causing really big trouble. And politically, it's going to be very damaging for the Liberal government, too. But let's remember this. They can lose 10 seats in Quebec, and they still have a majority government. And let's remember this also, that although it may be a crisis for the federal Liberals in British Columbia, I don't believe it will be nationally. And that's what will save them, because I think that the government has struck a pretty good balance here between the environment, if you consider all the things they've done, which I won't bore your viewers with, including a tax on carbon, and the need for the national economy. I think they've struck a pretty good balance.
Yeah. In the end, what would be the simple reason that Mr. Trudeau decided to approve this pipeline? I mean, you know, when he was sitting there weighing his options, as I'm sure he did, what would have tipped it in favor of doing it?
Jobs in the national economy, but he couldn't have done that without the price on carbon and without the Alberta government having come out with the most impressive GHG reduction targets anywhere in the country. All of that gave him more credibility and kind of de-linked the two subjects. So really, it's hard to say that the pipelines will cause more GWG, GHG greenhouse gases, but at the same time, you have to say, yeah, but he's doing something about it. I think that was the key to his ability to do all this.
How, if at all, do these decisions affect the chances of the Energy East pipeline, which is, of course, the one that we're interested in? It would be of huge significance here.
I wouldn't be betting on that to happen anytime soon. I think the government has got all it can handle in the effort they're going to have to make, which will be immense. The drain on their energy as a result of the having to fight off the whole business in British Columbia over the next few years. I don't think they're going to be considering that pipeline right now. Perhaps it'll be on their radar later, but for the moment, I don't think it is. And in some degrees, the Prime Minister won't be unhappy about that, because there's such heavy opposition to it in the province of Quebec, where he has 40 seats. And right now, he doesn't want to do anything that causes him the potential loss of seats anywhere in the country, when he's looking at losing quite a few of them in British Columbia, perhaps.
Now, mind you, he does have all these seats in Atlantic Canada. He's got 32 seats in Atlantic Canada, but he may have to sacrifice some of those.
Don't I know it?
Yeah. I want to quickly touch on electoral reform, something that was promised by the Prime Minister, but, you know, proves much more easily said than done. And by the way, something that's easy to propose when you're in opposition and more difficult to implement when you're in power. The recommendation to have a national referendum on some sort of proportional representation seems to please very few people in Ottawa who really, you know, some of them at least, were hoping for a big change here.
Well, it was a majority agreement by the opposition parties who formed the majority on the committee that was chosen to go across the country, and they did. They talked to hundreds and hundreds of people and spent a lot of money, but that's okay. Democracy is expensive, not cheap.
Fair point.
But they did do that. But the Liberals in the committee said, no, we don't want a referendum. Furthermore, we don't want proportional representation either. But we're not telling you exactly what we do want, but that's what we don't want. And even more than that, they suggested, we don't think there's time now for Elections Canada to put this whole thing together if you did agree on the things you want. And since then, the head of Elections Canada is now saying, yeah, we need at least 2.5 years, and the government has given us no indication of what it wants us to change and how it wants us to change it. And even they are starting to cast doubts on whether this is possible, which is just fine for the Prime Minister, because he needs an excuse not to do it. And the excuse they're using is that it doesn't have broad national consensus, which, as you know, in politics, consensus means you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, that means there isn't consensus, and it also means that we need more discussion.
We did a web poll on this. I just want to pop these numbers up. This is not scientific, but it is interesting. We said, how do you feel about this idea of a new voting system? We had 32% in favor of proportional voting. We had 47%, Craig, say, nope, happy with it as it is. And the remaining 21% say, I don't know, but I would like to see a referendum. But the largest group, 47%, almost half, nope, leave it as it is. Happy with the system as we have it now. Interesting.
Well, as you know, the problem with referendums, as we found out in the political referendum in the United States and the one in Europe and others, and, our own referendums, is you frequently get the answer you don't want.
Exactly.
This government is not interested in a referendum for that reason. In addition to that, they have decided they want first past the post again.
Right.
Because remember, proportional representation, which is what the opposition parties want, would probably leave the Liberals with a minority government. They don't like that idea very much at all. So I think it was an unwise thing for the Prime Minister to say. It was a long campaign. He had to have something to say for 2 months, and he never should have said it. Now the job of the Minister of Democratic Government is to try to get the Prime Minister off the hook and make it appear that he didn't break his promise. And the way to do that is to say, you know, we would have kept the promise, but Canadians weren't engaged and there was no consensus, so we can't do it. That's their out.
Always a lot of fun and very insightful to chat with you, Craig. We'll be talking next week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Steve. Good to talk to you, my friend.
CTV's chief political commentator, Craig Oliver. See him again Sunday on Question Period here with Evan Sullivan, right across the CTV network. Back with more as we continue here Friday night on CTV News at 6.
Today's Lifeline is brought to you by McGilvery Injury and Insurance Law.
Health and medical news tonight. Cancer is one of the leading causes of death in North America, but more than half of all cancer deaths could be prevented by maintaining a healthy lifestyle. That finding is one of the subjects in the Lifeline tonight with CTV's Priya Sam.
The World Cancer Research Fund estimates about 1/5 of cancers in the U.S. are linked to obesity, poor nutrition, and inactivity.
Experts say avoiding high-calorie food and drinks, eating more fruits and veggies, plus limiting red meat and alcohol can reduce your risk of developing many types of cancer. Adults should also aim to get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise in a week. Skin cancer is the most common type of cancer, and the sun can do damage in as little as 15 minutes. Doctors remind everyone to use a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher every day and to never use UV tanning beds or sun lamps. Finally, they say it is extremely important to get regular screenings as well. A new option for birthing mothers. It's called a birthing sling, and some experts hope it can cut down on the number of C-sections.
It's amazing. It's such an amazing thing.
Less than 3 weeks ago, Harper was born at the University of Minnesota Children's Hospital. During labor, Lauren used a birthing sling.
It gives them support and it offers them a way to be upright and mobile during their labor.
Carrie Neerlin says as a result, it makes contractions more effective, so the labor is shorter.
This offers the opportunity for women to feel supported, yet it takes off some of the pressure.
The nurses at the birthing place say they hope the birthing slings and other tools will help offer more options to women giving birth. With health and medical news, I'm Priya Sam for the Lifeline.
Thank you, Priya. Still ahead here on CTV News, a close call. We've got some amazing footage of a tornado strike. But first, the wake-up weather for all of the activities you have lined up tomorrow, including the Christmas Daddies broadcast. Kelly Linehan is back after the break. Downtown Halifax at 6:52. Final word on the weather now for tomorrow morning with Kelly Linehan substituting for meteorologist Cindy Day tonight. Kelly.
Yeah, you can't even really see the weather out there, Steve. It's so dark, but luckily there's no flurries flying yet. But our forecast does include them for actually much of the Maritimes, the exception being PEI. You might be seeing more rain showers than flurries there, but awfully gusty night too. So we're expecting winds northwesterly, 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. As we take a look at our storm tracker right now, all the wet weather currently sitting over Cape Breton, or it's moving on over to Newfoundland, which saw our low pressure system that we enjoyed the last 2 days. We're going to see some more flurries develop overnight and last for tomorrow as well. And our temperatures will take a little bit of a plunge. We're hovering around the 0, -1 mark for parts of northern New Brunswick, -1 in St. John as well. So all these areas expecting this chance of flurries overnight tonight. 2 degrees is the high in Charlottetown, but also staying pretty soggy and overcast there for the next 2 or 3 days at least. And Cape Breton, in the higher elevations, you'll be seeing more snowfall than rain. 1 is our current condition right now in Halifax, as well as the Eastern Shore. A little bit warmer to Yarmouth and Lunenburg. temperatures around 5 or 4 degrees there. Our winds have tapered down overnight tonight, but they will likely pick back up, gusting northwesterly between 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. Right now, just 35 kilometers per hour westerly rather, in Halifax. Our wake-up weather is looking pretty gray right across our region. A perfect morning to wake up with Christmas Daddies Telethon. -2 in New Brunswick, -1 in Nova Scotia, where we're going to wake up to flurries and rain, and a chance of more coming up later on in the evening, and then 5 millimeters in PEI. So right across the Maritime, Steve, a pretty gray Saturday for all of us.
We'll do our best to brighten things up inside on the Christmas Daddies broadcast tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock here on CTV. Something interesting for last tonight, amazing video of a tornado hitting the Atlanta area that is, earlier in the week. The security video is from a school in Atlanta, and it shows the powerful winds that swept through the area. At least one tree caught toppling on camera. The officials are still investigating several other possible tornadoes that slammed 4 other Georgia counties in the same system. Please stay with us for E-Talk. Coming up next on the CTV television network, The Big Bang Theory at 7:30, Blue Bloods at 8 o'clock, and then at 9, Fantastic Beasts and J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World. At 10 o'clock, Shark Tank. And then at 11 tonight, Scott Laurie anchoring CTV National News. Scott?
Tonight, as cold and flu season sets in, we take a closer look at an emerging medical trend. Test results and treatment in minutes at your local pharmacy. But doctors warn about negative side effects. That's later on CTV National News.
Thank you, Scott. And that will do it for CTV News at 6. If you're a bit late joining us here tonight, this broadcast begins again at 7 o'clock on CTV2. News available all the time at atlantic.ctvnews.ca. Amanda Debison has the news at 11:30. But for now, for my colleagues on both sides of our cameras, I'm Steve Murphy. Thank you for making CTV your home for news. Marie Adset has the news on the weekend. We're back here Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock. But first, tomorrow morning at 11 for the 53rd annual Christmas Daddies broadcast. Have a good evening and be well. We'll look in on some of the preparations for the Daddies show. Phone lines open, by the way, tomorrow morning at 10:30 if you want to get in ahead of the crowd. So we'll see you in the morning.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.
Just another average day in Nova Scotia.
Beasts and J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World at 10 o'clock.
-2 in New Brunswick, -1 in Nova Scotia, where we're going to wake up to flurries and rain, and a chance of more coming up later on in the evening, and then 5 millimeters in PEI. So right across the Maritime, Steve, a pretty gray Saturday for all of us.
We'll do our best to brighten things up inside on the Christmas Daddies broadcast tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock here on CTV. Something interesting for last tonight, amazing video of a tornado hitting the Atlanta area that is, earlier in the week. The security video is from a school in Atlanta, and it shows the powerful winds that swept through the area. At least one tree caught toppling on camera. The officials are still investigating several other possible tornadoes that slammed 4 other Georgia counties in the same system. Please stay with us for E-Talk. Coming up next on the CTV television network, The Big Bang Theory at 7:30, Blue Bloods at 8 o'clock, and then at 9, Fantastic Beasts and J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World. At 10 o'clock, Shark Tank. And then at 11 tonight, Scott Laurie anchoring CTV National News. Scott?
Tonight, as cold and flu season sets in, we take a closer look at an emerging medical trend. Test results and treatment in minutes at your local pharmacy, but doctors warn about negative side effects. That's later on CTV National News.
Thank you, Scott. And that will do it for CTV News at 6. If you're a bit late joining us here tonight, this broadcast begins again at 7 o'clock on CTV2. News available all the time at atlantic.ctvnews.ca. Amanda Debison has the news at 11:30, but for now, for my colleagues on both sides of our cameras, I'm Steve Murphy. Thank you for making CTV your home for news. Marie Adset has the news on the weekend. We're back here Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock. But first, tomorrow morning at 11 for the 53rd annual Christmas Daddies broadcast. Have a good evening and be well. We'll look in on some of the preparations for the Daddies show. Phone lines open, by the way, tomorrow morning at 10:30 if you want to get in ahead of the crowd. So we'll see you in the morning.
CTV News, the Maritime's #1 newscast.